Today, in this explainer, we're going on a literal hero's journey. But our hero? It's a single bite of food traveling right through your body. We interact with food every single day, right? Multiple times a day. Yet we rarely stop to think about the absolute marvel of biological engineering that kicks in the exact second a meal passes our lips. So we're going to break down this complex system step by step, using some really fantastic visual roadmaps to figure out exactly how we fuel our lives.
Have you ever actually wondered what happens to your food after you swallow it? Seriously, before we map out the whole itinerary, I want you to think about the crazy, unseen chemical symphony happening inside your abdomen right now. Most of us just chew, swallow, and kind of completely forget about it until our stomach rumbles again. But right beneath the surface, your body is running this highly sophisticated disassembly line, breaking down complex structures into microscopic fuel. It's this continuous, involuntary process that literally keeps you alive, moving, and thinking.
So, to make sense of all this, here's our quick roadmap for today. We'll be looking at 1. Entry and transport. 2. The stomach's acidic bath. 3. Liver and pancreas inputs. 4. Absorption in the small intestine. And finally, 5. Final stages and elimination.
Now, what's really fascinating here is that we can see the entire, highly coordinated industrial process from top to bottom right before we zoom into the microscopic stuff. Just look at how interconnected it all is, from the top at the mouth, straight down the torso, to the very bottom. It's basically a single continuous tube with these specialized chemical processing plants attached along the way. Digestion isn't just one thing happening in one organ, it's a meticulous across multiple zones.
Section 1. Entry and transport. Let's start at the very beginning of this relay race, where your food first enters the system and the whole breakdown process kicks off immediately. So while your tongue is busy tasting your lunch, figuring out if it's sweet, salty, or bitter, this brilliant dual-action process gets to work. On one hand, you've got mechanical digestion pieces, but on the other hand, we have chemical digestion. Your salivary glands start pumping out saliva, which contains a very specific enzyme called salivary amylase, also known as ptyalin. You can think of ptyalin like a tiny pair of chemical scissors that instantly start snipping complex carbohydrates into simpler sugars right there in your mouth. Step 1 is the mouth, and step 2 is the esophagus. Let's see how things develop as the food, which is now this moistened, chewed-up mass, makes its physical journey from your mouth down into the esophagus. Now, you might be wondering, how does it actually get down there? Well, the crucial thing to know is that food doesn't just casually drop into your stomach thanks to gravity. It's actively pushed downwards by these continuous muscular waves called peristaltic movement. The esophagus literally squeezes the food down, wave by wave. This means, technically speaking, you could swallow a bite of food while standing completely upside down. Your muscles do all the heavy lifting to force that payload right down to its next stop. Section 2. The stomach's acidic bath. The tension definitely rises here, as our hero, that bite of food, enters a harsh, highly acidic vat to continue breaking down. We're moving from step 1, the esophagus, straight into step 2, the stomach. We transition right from that rhythmic squeezing into the intense, churning gastric gland territory of the stomach. Things are about to get pretty extreme. Let's look at the 3 critical components of the gastric juice produced here. First up, hydrochloric acid. This stuff is incredibly potent. Its whole job is to create a highly acidic pH environment. Why? Well, because the second component, an enzyme called pepsin, needs that super harsh, acidic environment to wake up and aggressively start digesting proteins. But wait, with all that powerful acid, how does the stomach not, digest itself? That brings us to component number 3, mucus. A thick layer of mucus bravely coats the inner lining of the stomach, acting as an essential shield against its own corrosive acid. It's just a spectacular, highly calibrated balancing act. Moving on to section 3, liver and pancreas inputs. After surviving that acidic bath, the food leaves the stomach and enters the small intestine, but a flurry of vital chemical helpers are about to arrive on the scene. The first major helper is the liver, and it contributes something called bile juice. This bile has 2 massive jobs. First, it makes the food alkaline. Remember how acidic the food just was coming out of the stomach? The bile neutralizes that harsh acid so it doesn't completely wreck the delicate small intestine. Second, it kicks off emulsification. That's just a fancy word for breaking down large, stubborn fat globules into tiny, manageable droplets. It's honestly kind of like how dish soap magically breaks up bacon grease in a frying pan. Next, the pancreas steps in to inject its own pancreatic juice right alongside the bile.
The pancreas delivers this incredible trio of highly specialized enzymes tailored to finish the digestion job. We've got pancreatic amylase to keep breaking down carbs, trypsin to further dismantle proteins, and lipase, which specifically targets and digests those newly emulsified fats the liver just prepped for us. It's an absolutely perfectly coordinated chemical tag team.
Section 4. Absorption in the small intestine. We've officially reached the climax of our journey, where the final digestion of food is finally completed.
All of that mechanical crushing in the mouth, the acid churning in the stomach, and the chemical snipping from the liver and pancreas, it all ultimately yields these final products. Complex meals are finally reduced to their most basic building blocks: simple carbohydrates, pure proteins, and broken down fats. These are the fundamental currencies your body literally needs to function, repair, and grow.
But how do those simplified nutrients actually get from inside the intestinal tube into your bloodstream? To pull this off, the small intestine relies on microscopic structures called villi. These are tiny, finger-like projections lining the entire inner wall. Because there are millions of them, they create a massively large surface area. Honestly, think of them like thousands of tiny molecular sponges. And packed just beneath the surface of each villus is an intricate network of blood vessels. The nutrients just diffuse right across that huge surface area directly into the blood, ready to be rushed off to every single cell in your body.
Section 5. Final stages and elimination. With the valuable nutrients officially absorbed into the bloodstream, our hero's journey enters the cleanup phase.
We track the final physical movement through Step 1, the small intestine, Step 2, the large intestine, Step 3, the rectum, and Step 4, the anus. The leftover material that couldn't be absorbed simply passes down the lower digestive tract. But right before reaching the rectum, the large intestine performs one last, absolutely crucial task. It absorbs water. You see, the body absolutely hates wasting resources, especially hydration. So the large intestine basically squeezes all the remaining liquid out of the indigestible waste and pumps that water right back into your bloodstream. Without this final step, we dehydrate incredibly fast. It is literally the ultimate biological recycling center.
And there you have it. From a simple bite to cellular fuel. It's truly spectacular how this involuntary system just operates, day in and day out, to keep you alive and moving. It takes teeth, muscles, acids, protective mucus shields, and these incredibly specialized enzymes, all perfectly communicating and working together. So the next time you finish a meal, just remember the epic journey that food is embarking on. Your body literally just orchestrated a massive chemical symphony to power your day. So what will you do with that energy? Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I hope this gives you a whole new appreciation for the incredible machine you live inside.